Legend.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to be back with all of you at home. I hope you had a happy and safe 4th of July. There's been no shortage of news, and so we begin tonight with the coronavirus only worsening. New records set in several states, cases and hospitalizations, and that news just before we came on the air tonight. Atlanta's mayor saying it has hit close to home, literally, saying she has tested positive but has had no symptoms. And tonight, that sobering number, we have now surpassed 130,000 lives lost in the U.S. Tonight, cases in Florida have doubled in just 2 weeks, now topping 206,000 cases. Miami-Dade County tonight reversing course, now shutting down indoor dining, gyms, and vacation rentals after having reopened them. Hospitalizations in Texas reaching a new high, 18 people dying in the past 24 hours. Arizona now reaching 100,000 cases. California extending a ban on indoor dining, movie theaters, and museums to San Diego and 5 more counties tonight. And take a look. These are the images that have authorities concerned after the holiday, pointing to the alarming numbers involving young people, fears that those large gatherings seen across the country will fuel the spread. President Trump downplaying the outbreak, claiming, quote, 99% of the virus cases are totally harmless. He did not provide evidence for that number. And Dr. Anthony Fauci just today saying we are headed in the wrong direction, saying something needs to be done immediately. So a very busy Monday. We'll guide you through it all, and we begin here with our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, those throngs slammed together in 4th of July parties across the country, cementing concern basic messaging like social distancing is not being followed. At this lake in Michigan, hundreds partying shoulder to shoulder and few masks in sight. And this packed concert inside an Atlanta nightclub. And to Nashville and Oakland, those crowds igniting fears the coronavirus is spreading faster and deeper into the country. In just the first 6 days of July, 250,000 new infections nationwide. Dr. Anthony Fauci today not mincing words.
The current state is really not good. It's a serious situation that we have to address immediately.
In Florida, new cases doubling over the past 2 weeks. Miami-Dade's mayor reversing course, closing restaurants and gyms. Stephen Cooper, seen here on the far left of this iconic photo, sprinting from the falling Twin Towers, surviving 9/11, only to die from COVID-19 in Florida. Dr. Nema Kabir is only in the second year of his residency, forced to the front lines in a Miami hospital.
We had colleagues who were testing positive and have to be quarantined, and so the rest of us have to pick up the slack.
President Trump coming under fire for once again downplaying the virus, incorrectly attributing the surge in cases to increased testing.
Now we have tested almost 40 million people. By so doing, we show cases, 99% of which are totally harmless.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo today saying the president is enabling the pandemic.
What he's really saying is, if we didn't test, we wouldn't find the cases. So on that theory, let's do no more cancer tests, and that'll solve the problem with cancer. Mr. President, don't be a co-conspirator of COVID.
And presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's campaign saying in a statement the president is outright lying to the nation about the extreme threat of COVID-19. Tonight, the White House defending the president's comments.
The president was noting the fact that the vast majority of Americans who contract coronavirus will come out on the other side of this.
9 states hitting new records for hospitalizations this weekend, including Texas. A record number of people hospitalized in Arizona, now one of 8 states with more than 100,000 cases.
We see young people coming into the hospitals and saying nobody told them that they would get sick. Young people do get sick. We've seen young people get sick, and we've seen young people even die.
In California, the governor shutting down indoor dining at bars in San Diego and 5 other counties and stepping up enforcement on businesses. One doctor warning tonight.
And if we all don't get our acts together, then there's really no place in the country that's going to be spared.
The warnings across the country tonight. Let's get right to Matt Gutman. And Matt, I want to get back to the news we learned just before we came on the air tonight. The mayor of Atlanta confirming she now has the virus.
David, she has confirmed that she has in fact been talked about as a possible vice presidential candidate. Now, she says she has felt no symptoms, but her husband slept from Thursday through the weekend. That's what prompted the family to get tested today. She said she and her family are still processing those positive results. David.
All right, Matt Gupman leading us off on a Monday. Matt, thank you. And tonight, the growing toll on the virus on young people in Florida. Most of the cases right now are young people, 21 years old. And in North Carolina tonight, more than half of all patients are under 50. And that pushed by hundreds of scientists and doctors tonight around the world, now asking the World Health Organization to explain how long this can last in the air, especially indoors. Here's Will Reeve.
Tonight, the virus and its new target. Cases in young people growing, potentially fueled by crowds like this in Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks. In North Carolina, 58% of infections are in ages 18 to 49. In Arizona, half the cases are in people 20 to 44. And here in Florida, the governor says the age with the most cases is 21.
Basically, if you're under 40 and you don't have significant comorbidities, the fatality rate for this is pretty close to zero.
Today, Dr. Anthony Fauci warning the young not to feel invulnerable.
Many young people may not necessarily get sick enough to go to the hospital, but they can get very sick.
31-year-old Kara Schiavo has been fighting COVID since March. Her doctors say she may now have asthma for life.
I also thought it was only really, dangerous for the elderly until I got it. I exercised before this, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it didn't matter how old I was.
And new concerns tonight about how the virus spreads. The WHO's current guidance says the virus is primarily spread by large droplets from coughs or sneezes. The CDC guidelines saying it spreads through close contact through those droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. But 239 scientists from 32 countries have prepared a letter urging the WHO to recognize the potential of the virus to spread through inhaling smaller airborne particles that can linger for longer periods of time, especially indoors.
David, some of those scientists who made those recommendations to the WHO are saying that people should be wearing masks even when they're socially distanced and even when they're indoors. David?
All right, ABC's Will Reeve. Will, thank you. The president, as you saw there,